Good evening, and welcome to the Claw Studio at the Royal Opera House and to this Insight. I'm Lindsay Winship, and tonight we'll be going behind the scenes of the Royal Ballet's Festival of New Choreography. The festival is a series of performances and events across the house that champion new and diverse voices in dance. There'll be a lot going on. In the main house, 4 choreographers make their main stage debuts. That's Gemma Bond, Jessica Lang, Matutu Zali November, and Joshua Juncker. In the Linbury Theatre, dancers from the Royal Ballet will be performing an immersive work by Robert Binet that imagines the invisible forces of the universe in human form. And in the Claw Studio, Duets showcases emerging choreographers and dancers from a range of national companies, including the Royal Ballet, coming together to create short duets, especially for the festival. And there'll be activity all around the house, including live at lunch and family Sunday events, all celebrating creativity and new thinking in dance. Now tonight, we're going to hear from some of the choreographers involved and watch some rehearsals. But first, to talk about the festival and the Royal Ballet's commitment to choreographic innovation, please welcome Artistic Director of the Royal Ballet, Kevin O'Hare, and Creative Producer for the Royal Ballet, Emma Southworth. Thanks for joining us.
Lovely to be here.
So there's going to be a lot going on. Tell us why you wanted to create this festival and have it all over the Royal Opera House.
Well, we love the idea that the whole place is buzzing with new choreography, but I think over the last, let's say, even 10 years, we've had a lot of new work on the main stage, a lot of big productions, new full-length ballets. I realized that it was when I took over the Royal Ballet, Monica Mason had commissioned Alice's Adventures in Wonderland by Christopher Wheeldon, and that was the first full-length ballet for something like 17 years. So I felt this is where we want to, she'd started the ball rolling, let's keep going with that. So we've done a lot of new work, both on the main stage and in the Linbury. But this season was a very much one looking at our most recent history, which is things like the Dante Project, The Winter's Tale, which is unbelievably 10 years old, Carlos's Don Q, Liam Scarlett's Swan Lake, and then also our heritage. So Kenneth Macmillan, we were celebrating at the moment the 50th anniversary of Manon, and also Sir Frederick Ashton, we've got a big festival of his work at the end of the season. So in the middle of that, to offshoot all of that, I thought let's bring some new voices in and have some new voices on the main stage and in the Linbury. And so that's what we decided to do.
And I think we've always had that sense, and I think where Kevin's coming with, as his directorship to create those new classics of the future, I think we've always been aware that you've got to keep the art form moving forward, but you've got to keep, you've got to find your next generation. So it's a sort of constant cycle of doing that. Because I think you always forget that things like Manon or Frederick Ashton's work, at one point, they were the new works as well.
Yeah, but you do have a number of projects and programs that are supporting new voices and young choreographers. Can you tell us a bit more about some of those?
Yeah, so we've had draft works. I mean, the Royal Ballet's always had, throughout its, decades of history.
Yeah, years ago, when I was a young dancer, Leslie Edwards, this wonderful man that was a great character principal of the Royal Ballet, but he really championed new choreography, and together with David Drew, the two of them, when it was both companies, and I'd be on tour and I'd be rehearsing in some bar in the Alhambra Theatre in Bradford or something to do a choreographic workshop here in London, just to keep choreography alive and well within the company.
Yeah, and I was talking to Monica Mason, our director, the other day, and she was talking about when she was here and dancing with Rudolf Nureyev, and they were allowed, it was special dispensation to go off and create new work, and at that point it was a really special thing to do. But I think, so those traditions go a long way back. But in recent years we've had our Draft Works programme for probably over 10 years now, for our dancers to create work on each other, and we've done different versions of that. Sometimes we've done it here in the Claw and kept it very low level, sort of studio sharing. Sometimes we've done it in the Linbury to sort of give a few more production values to it. But in the last 4 or 5 years, we've created international draft works. So we've asked companies from around the world to send the best of their draft works programs, and we put those on in the Linbury. But what we've also done is bring that cohort of choreographers together to learn, do professional development together, and really give a platform to that new work, but out of the studio, out of this Claw studio setting, or their equivalents, and give it the next level up. And we've also created a Next Generation Festival in the Limbury as well at the end of the season to work with junior graduate companies. And they're fantastic opportunities for those young dancers, but they're also brilliant opportunities for young choreographers. So again, it's that sense of finding the right thing for the right choreographer at that point, whichever point they are in their career.
And can you tell us why it's important to be pushing new work? You know, of course the company honours the classics and the classical ballet, but why is it important to push the new work, and what does the company get out of that?
I think it will always be important because we always want to find those next new voices and new ways of looking at classical ballet. And I think hopefully, I believe this program will show the one on the main stage is really fascinating in its diversity of styles within classical ballet. And I think that's really important to see. And then what I do love is, you know, for those of you who follow the company and follow the dancers and seeing how they develop doing different work and how sometimes that informs how they do the classics as well. So having worked with, maybe they've done Sleeping Beauty or Giselle or danced in those roles, and then worked with a different choreographer, and they bring something out in them which they didn't know they had before, and then that can inform their classical work as well. So I think the two go hand in hand, and it's really important. And we're very lucky that we have the opportunity to do that here.
Yeah, so because some people think that if classical dancers are performing very modern work, it's going to dilute their technique, but you don't believe that?
No, don't believe it at all. I really genuinely believe it. It really enhances.
And I think the other thing is I mean, we have a responsibility as the Royal Ballet for the art form, don't we, to keep the art form moving forward. And I think by doing that, that's the way you look after your classics and your heritage, by keeping that energy there. But for our audiences as well, it's really important that we show, the widest range of what ballet can be, on all different stages, which is what we're doing with the festival.
Yeah, well, thanks so much for that great introduction.
Thank you very much. Enjoy the evening.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Now, to give us a first glimpse of her new work, Boundless, that will be performed on the main stage as part of the festival, please welcome choreographer and former first artist of the Royal Ballet, Gemma Bond. Come on, Gemma. You come to this little. Gemma, tell us about what we're going to see being rehearsed.
Well, I would say this work is very much classical ballet, or exploring classical ballet and the boundaries that we put on ourselves as ballet dancers. There's something in the technique of classical ballet that holds us back, I would say, from the freedom of dance. And with this music, this beautiful score, we're trying to take away all those boundaries and be as free as we might be in a contemporary work, but using the classical technique.
Is it exciting for you to be back in the Opera House and to be part of the festival?
Yes, exciting, daunting, wonderful to see everyone that I grew up with, and it's a strange feeling to be in the Opera House and have seen all these master works and go to another company where they also do these works and think, oh, I actually came from the place where it all happened, and now come back and think, oh, I have that opportunity to create something else.
Yeah, and now you're going to be on the main stage too.
Yes.
Following all those greats.
Yeah.
And I should say the music for this piece is a double piano concerto.
Yes.
So we're not able to have that in the studio tonight, so there will be a recording.
Yes.
But I'm sure that won't diminish what we see. Gemma is going to be joined now by dancers Charlotte Tonkinson and David Donnelly from the Royal Ballet. And I look forward to seeing what you've got for us. Take it away.
Okay, so I guess we'll start with David. We're being a little bit naughty this evening because both of them, I haven't worked on their sections a lot. So you're getting a very raw experience of rehearsal. But it's a true rehearsal. So I think, David, for you, I'm going to go over just a few things that I saw Friday and think of the changes. So this was all fine. It's when we get to, yep, that's all good. Bum, 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 bum. Yeah, here, when you're doing this shaky, shaky moment, here, it. I think try not to have the arms so still, so you're still very much like going, that's it, that's it, that's it. Yeah, and don't be afraid to, once you're making those transitions, like open the upper body to go through. Yes, exactly, because otherwise it gets a little crappy. There we go. Dun, 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 dun. Bum, bum. Yeah, and again here, with this arm, it really doesn't have to stop.
Okay.
So you're there, you're going round, and you go into the next thing. That's it. Now, this is where I want to make a change.
This is where we're at the
Yeah, now, you're doing a soutenu, correct? Like onto demi.
Yeah.
So you're doing soutenu and then the tour, soutenu tour. If we went down, is that a problem? See, this is the other thing. I'm so tiny that I move very fast and I don't have much range. So when I actually get somebody who does have range and can jump, it slows things down. Bum, bum. Yeah. Should we try?
Yeah.
And then, so after the last soutenu, you'd still have the 2 runs into that.
Down.
Bum, bum, diddle-diddle-yum. And then I wanted to put a jump in.
What jump would you like?
I was just thinking second down so that you're ready to go.
So, still turn.
Jump, jump, jump. Yep. Yeah. Yeah.
Remember that?
Yeah, no, remember what you can, and then we'll go from there. And also, if you need to stop, I will say, because this music is very fast, and we call the ballet boundless, I wanted to, really challenge the dancers in a way of doing short bursts of movement. So this is an extremely hard variation that's quite short. Yeah. But it's probably just as hard as something that would be, it's a cardio ballet, yeah. Okay, here we go. Hopefully this isn't too loud. Oh, we're not connected. Let's get connected. Here we go. Is it too loud? Good, David, that's great. Good. Let's try again. Yeah, it's hard. See, yes, there's a step for every count, so it's very hard. Yeah, it's like with the musicality, you almost need to stop before.
Yeah.
Right. Say you do the out, ba-bum. So we just need to make sure that fits.
Less force.
Is this too hard to go down before the tour?
It's just really fast. But I think it's
It is very fast.
I think if I do
Yum, bum, bum, bum. And then just run, maybe. Yeah, don't do the last one. So he can see you. Can we just mark the beginning part and try and get, because I think you're going to have to stop after the turn down and then do.
and then do the jump.
Yeah, then reset almost.
Do you want to before? Or just turn? Maybe just
I think you need to almost like stand and then go, because like a fake ending.
Gotcha.
Yeah?
And then just one.
Yes. Okay. Let's see if I can find this. Are you okay, David?
Yeah.
You're warm now. And then just run, right? Dun, dun, dun. Bum, 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 bum. Great. Great. You're doing a fantastic job. Because this is something I would normally whisper to the dancer if there were lots of people around, but I guess I should just say it. It's so fast. I think we have to find moments where you do connect with the audience. And one of those is when you do, after you do the shaky, shaky, maybe. 'Cause I told you to look up, but maybe you're just at the audience.
Let's just
Dun, dun.
so still here.
Yes, I think so, yeah. Yeah, reset. Yeah. Great, I don't want to torture you too much. Yeah, and so finishing there, I wonder if just one is enough.
Do a second tour, just the
Do
first
the
one?
second tour, but then just do the runs
But then just
afterwards.
run.
Yeah, so we have a little bit of a mental break. Yeah.
I need that.
Okay. Shall we move on to Charlotte? So, good job. All right, Charlotte. Another crazy moment. We've spent 30 minutes on this, so we'll see what happens. If we go from the end of the ladies, yes.
Yeah, sure.
So what do we have?
So,
Then bum, 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 bum. Yeah, can we make the arms a little bit more like you're going this way?
the first one as well.
Yeah.
Still.
I think all of them a little bit more open. Dun dun, that's it. Dun 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 dun. Bum bum, bum bum, boom. So this way. And so you're going on to point twice.
Yeah, and come back.
And what happens if you go? What happens if you go down up? So that it, yeah, so that it moves quicker. Jan, jan, ba ba. So you have to almost do a little hop to go. Ja, ba bum. That's it. That's it. There we go. Then you go all the way down. Da da. Ba-rum. Stop.
Yeah.
Okay. Into those. Jump, jump. Yeah.
Still, yeah.
Yeah. And you were doing this arm, or you doing?
This arm.
Can we do this way so we don't get into the Balanchine territory? We're copyright, yeah. That way, jump, bump, bump. There we go, there we go. That's it. Dun, 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 bump, bump, bump. Yes, 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 nice. Yeah,
Repeat this.
yeah, bump. And you have the pauses, right?
Yeah.
The little pauses. Let's just try and do that much. That's a lot. So there are only 2 variations in the ballet, and these are the 2, I guess. Right? Where nobody else is dancing. So we're in another track. It is. Look, I need technical assistance. It is. I thought it was after the women. It's the 3rd movement after the women. No, you're right.
Yeah. Because then we come on to the
Oh. No, it's before. When is it? Wait. Charlotte, I need help. Charlotte, when is it?
After the 4 girls.
I haven't got my assistant. Before, oh, it's after you, David. It's after you. Sorry, I'm being silly.
musical.
Oh, sorry. I'm so close to you. Okay. First off, let's start further back, now that I know where the music starts. And there was something with the... This is good. Now, when you do these, really step out. Really, really step out, because you'll be starting further back. That's it. So don't be too worried about having your weight forward on these so you can keep going. Yeah. David, your time is up. You have to clear. Yeah, and here you can really like cross it. Yeah.
Is that turn out that way?
Yeah, I think so. Yeah, yeah. We'll see until I changed my mind, and then we'll do it again. All right. Let's see. Start further back. Yeah. So traveling is the main focus, okay? 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 2, 2, 3, 5, 6, 7. So here she goes. She's going to travel. Nice. Okay, I'm going to stop you. Very good. Is it possible
Yeah.
if we do one arm up on the footing? I could never do it as a dancer, but you probably can. Yes, and do one. So you go da 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 da. Yes. So there's something about, I think, because you're coming down on straight legs.
Yeah.
Yes, I think you can do a little rebound. I mean, I wouldn't mind if you even step forward. Da 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 da. It's horrible. What if you finish back and then you can? I don't mean you're horrible. I mean it's a horrible combination to be given. If you finish back and then you can go this way, boom. That's it. There we go. That's how we fix it. Just do that little bit again, and then I think we're really. How are we doing for time? Okay, we'll do that little bit again. So here, just really, again, I'm whispering. Just really try and be like a little. That's it. Yeah. Like you're kind of like, ooh, you're gonna go over the. There you go. There you go. Right. 6, 7, 8. Good, very good. Nice. That's it. That's right. Very good. Very good. Sorry, I really put you on the spot. So that first arm, just make a little bit bigger. Yes, there we go. Yeah. And then on all of those, you can really come forward. Jump, bum, bum, bum. Yeah, the other little bit. Jump. That's right, that's right. So you're more like you're going down. Yeah. Jump. That's it. Great. Fantastic. Thank you so much. Thank you. It's hard when people are afraid. Thank you.
Brilliant to see that little section. Thanks so much for that glimpse into the work. Now, Gemma's actually going to come back and join me to talk in a bit more depth about the work and the choreographic process, along with choreographer Joshua Juncker and Jessica Lang, and Joseph Tunga, who is the current choreographic residency for this season. So welcome, everyone. Please help me to welcome them. Joseph, I think you're on this end.
We are?
Oh.
Where are we sitting?
Joseph sits there.
Oh.
Josh, you can go there.
Okay.
I've divided you, girls against boys. Well, thanks all for coming to talk to us. I think, Josh, we'll start with you.
All right.
So people will recognise you as a dancer. You're a first artist here with the Royal Ballet.
Yes.
So tell us about the transition from being a dancer, working with your peers, to being a choreographer in charge.
As in like real life in the studio
Yeah.
Yeah, it's been quite a... Is this working well? Yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
It's been quite a challenge, I have to say, to go from these massive ballets like Manon and Nutcracker and rehearsing quite tough ballets and being really out of breath, and then having to switch into my own world and my own movement and lead a room as well and try and convey this to the dancers. It has been quite tough, but also really fun and fulfilling to do. Because I love dancing and choreographing, so it's a privilege to do both, but also quite hard.
Yeah. Do you have to find your authority to tell your friends what to do?
It's kind of a bit strange, yeah, to hang out with my friends and then be at the front of the room suddenly. But it's quite a relaxed atmosphere as well. I kind of like it. It's like kind of a relaxed atmosphere causes helps with the creative endeavor, I think, a little bit. So.
And does it help because you know the dancers, you know what they can do?
Yeah, I know them well, and we're friends, and I've created with them before, so it feels very comfortable. Yeah.
Gemma, you were also a first artist with the Royal Ballet some time ago before going off to American Ballet Theatre. Tell us a little bit about your journey from dancer to choreographer.
Gosh. I found it quite hard, I thought, to always be told what you're doing. And when I was a dancer, I think I was in the Corps de Ballet. So I did get to do new creations and be in that process, but most of the time you're taught things, especially in classical ballet. There isn't much playing, let's say, with movement. And then to find your voice is quite hard. It took me a few years, I think, to not be whispering at everybody and just take control of the room.
Yeah. Did you start making pieces whilst you were dancing on your colleagues?
Yes, I did, yeah. I actually took, I guess, lessons. They were lessons that ABT provided, thinking it would just be something to fill the time and have fun. And I thought, when I do get to work with more contemporary choreographers, at least I'll have something in my back pocket, as a tool. But I really, really enjoyed it and found that I was more comfortable there, actually, than as a dancer. So.
You liked being the one telling them what to do?
Yeah, or just being able to go where I wanted to go and not have to take it back.
Yeah. Jessica, I mean, you're a very experienced choreographer and you've made a lot of work for companies in the States and internationally. So tell us what it's been like working here and what it means to you to be at the Royal Ballet.
Oh, it's an amazing experience. It's a career highlight for sure. I'm hugely honored to be working with the Royal Ballet. I have been creating this is going to be my 25th year. And Twinkle is my 113th ballet.
Wow.
So, yes, I switched from being a dancer to being a creator really young.
You had your own company, didn't you?
Well, yes, I did, but I went to the Juilliard School. I studied composition under Bessie Schoenberg, who was a teacher a composition teacher. I studied for 2 years, and her students include Ron K. Brown, to Merce Cunningham, to Jerome Robbins. I was her last student. She died in my senior year. And with that, it kind of felt like I got blessed with something. I danced as a dancer for 2 years with Twyla Tharp and realized quickly that I didn't like performing and I missed the creative process, whether it was my own. I didn't know if I was a dance maker, but I knew that I wanted to try to get on the other side of the room, and I knew that if I wanted to establish myself as a voice of my generation, that I needed to start early, and I did. I just switched. The very first creation was for Hubbard Street 2 and then ABT 2, and I didn't look back. So
I think we've established that you are a dance maker at this stage.
Oh, yeah. I hope so, for goodness sakes. I was emerging for a really long time. I'm glad we've given up that word now.
Yeah, but still, there are new challenges to face coming to a new company.
Oh, yes.
Things work differently.
Always. Well, yes and no. I mean, yes and no. They're different people. That's the biggest, I think, difference, is just that when you look at your dancers, they are human and they are different, and that is beautiful. And I think the more you get to the chance to go into different companies and experience what that means, you get better at honing your craft because the tools are different. And that's, yeah, it's just essential part of my vocabulary to understand who the dancer is.
Yeah. Joseph, we're going to hear some more from you later on.
Yeah.
But tell us about your relationship with the Royal Ballet and your role here.
It started 3 years ago. It's been a fun, interesting journey. I think it's given me a really good insight into the ballet world, how it works. You know, how can I input my own opinion into stuff, and when to back out, when to step in. So it's been a really great, I think, relationship here that they've allowed me to still do my freelance stuff and bring it into the space, but at the same time recognize I'm in the Royal Ballet and this is what we want to do. And it's been a collaborative working relationship for the last 3 years.
Because you come from a more hip-hop and contemporary
Yeah.
background, so they're styles that we don't always see in the opera house,
Yeah.
and that the dancers aren't necessarily, don't have embodied.
Yeah.
So you've been bringing them some new...
Well, I've been trying, yeah. Been trying. Yeah, do you know what? I was actually speaking to someone the other day and said it's been a process that over the last 3 years, I've had a few dancers I got to work with a lot, and now I can start seeing what I want to do in their bodies, and I think that really helps when you start just selecting a few to try and input your ideas onto the body, and hopefully that spreads out throughout the room.
I suppose having a residency, because you were the emerging choreographic
Yeah.
residency for a couple of years, emerging no longer. So it's 3 years you've been here, and you need that time to forge relationships with the dancers and to sort of understand each other's languages.
Yeah, I think definitely. I think it's to know people, as you said, as people, as humans, but also to get to know, I think, the organization, because I'm still getting to know more people each week I'm here. So it takes a while to understand, this is what you do, this is how you can help, I'm still learning some new people.
Same after 7 years.
Yeah, there's still new people you learn. Even in a company, it's 97 dancers, I haven't met everyone.
Yeah. Let's talk a bit about the pieces that are in the festival. Gemma, we've seen a little bit of yours, and you told us a little bit about it, but tell us a bit more about the inspiration behind that piece and what drives your choreography.
Really, it was the music. The score is such a ride. You know, it has two really powerful movements that bookend, I guess. And in the middle, there's something that's quite soothing as a pas de deux. And first, I thought the structure was excellent for dance, and then breaking it down, realized it's, this score by Joe Rukins is really complex, and I think the orchestra is really excited by it too, because it really changes. And then it got me started thinking about like misfit characters, and I was wanting to do an abstract ballet, and then I went on another journey, and I was watching my daughter and her friends, she's 5, and just how they create with no boundaries. They're not taught, they don't have a preconceived idea of how it should end up. And I was like, I'm going to use that as inspiration to just follow the music and not worry if it doesn't look like ballet in a certain moment, and not worry if this is strange port de bras, but break the rules a tiny bit for ballet.
Are you giving your daughter a credit?
I should.
Assistant.
I should. Yeah.
I mean, who are your influences choreographically? Who are the people who've inspired you?
Nijinsky is huge, a huge inspiration for me when I look at the works that she created, and I guess the way that she structured her pieces, and just, I don't know, I feel like so much, how can I say this? Like it's so much power she brought to ballet in a very strange way so early on.
Yes, yeah, Bronislava Nijinsky. I mean, she was a real pioneer, wasn't she?
When you see Les Noces, it's hard to believe that it was created when it was
100 years ago.
Yeah, because it looks so fresh and real. So yes, I would say that she is one of the biggest inspirations.
Josh, who's influenced you?
I think when I was younger, Jurg Kielin was a big influence.
Yeah.
I grew up in Holland watching NDT, So he was a big influence. And then later on, Crystal Pite, she came in NET as well, and she worked here as well. And I saw her piece when I was younger as well, it really inspired me. And then working with her here was an even more inspiring moment, I think. The way she works with the dancers and how precise and detailed she is with her movement, I think is beautiful.
Yeah, so you've been learning in the studio and picking up tips and then transferring them to your...
Yeah, definitely, yeah.
Tell us about the piece that you've made for the festival.
Yeah, well, actually, same as Gemma, it's mainly inspired by the music.
What's the music?
It's actually 3 different tracks, but the main part is Niels Fram's music, All Melody. I've been listening to his music for a while and thought this would be the perfect opportunity to create something to it. And what draws me to his music is kind of that he brings it's like a techno/futuristic sort of sound, but he combines it with a warm human touch, which I think is a interesting combination and contrast. And I kind of play with that within my piece as well.
And so, how do you meet those ideas with dance?
Yeah, that's a good question. I think me thinking about these ideas and contrast kind of naturally feeds into my movement, I think. And also as well listening to the music, which already inherently has that contrast within it. I feel like the movement kind of feeds from the music, so I feel like that contrast naturally goes into the choreography.
Are you coming from a more sort of emotional, instinctive place rather than a technical place?
I think so, yeah. Well, I guess so. Musical, emotional, instinctual place, yeah. And I guess naturally I have sort of a fluid style / sharpness as well, so maybe that has sort of that contrast in a very literal way, but yeah.
Yeah, can't wait to see. Jessica, so your new piece is called Twinkle, which I believe refers to Twinkle, Twinkle, Little Star. So tell us why, how that came about and why that piece of music.
Right, well, again, the idea came from the music, but actually the seed of the kind of wink, I always look for something that kind of sparkles at me. That's an idea for a dance. It was just actually during the pandemic when we're all sitting at home, and I kept looking out the window every night, watching the moon pass in its many phases and the stars. And I've always been interested in the moon and the stars, to the point that when I was a child, I wanted to be an astronaut. Glad that didn't work out. So when I had this idea of just time passing, the sky covering all of us at the same time, and that the moon travels and the stars travel around all of humanity. And when the opportunity, I found this music, obviously Twinkle, Twinkle, but I didn't know at the time that Mozart had made the variations, the 12 variations. And when I stumbled across it during the pandemic, I kind of just put it in the filing cabinet of one day, that's a ballet. And then when Kevin O'Hare approached me with this opportunity and requested, could I do something uplifting to close the evening? And I thought about, I always give about 3 options to an artistic director because I want them to feel like they're part of the process in the programmatic structure of the night. So having an ending, and what does that mean? We wanted it to be uplifting. And so I said, I just can't get this idea out of my mind. What about Twinkle, Twinkle, Little Star? I know it seems gimmicky or small or insufficient or insignificant, but I think it's actually quite powerful as an ending. And so I've paired it with Brahms' Cradle Song. So it kind of takes us back to something that we recognize as a group of our childhood and lullabies, and what that means between the child and the parent, and maybe a greater universal pull.
It sounds lovely.
It's very sweet.
What choreographically, where are you coming from?
Well, I'm inspired a lot by architecture and art and visual art, and how I see something that inspires me, it comes out as movement. So it's like I feel like I'm an artist whose medium is dance. As a person who is inspired by other dance makers, I think of recent, my most powerful inspiration is Mark Morris. His musicality, the wit, the craft, and really looking at the movement to have a meaning, even if it's in a very short time, it's brilliant. So I'm inspired by his work.
Yeah, fantastic. Joseph, you were going to have a piece in this festival, but I believe that because of injuries, it's had to be postponed. Is that right?
Yeah, that's right, yeah.
So do you know when we will be able to see it?
October the 25th is the opening night, if I'm correct, yeah.
Great.
The new mixed bill.
Well, we can look forward to that. I wanted to talk a bit about process. And so I'd like to ask you, how has your process changed, or has it changed since working at the Royal Ballet?
Oh, it's definitely adapted because of limited time in the studio. But I think what it's changed is just the articulation of, you know, getting my point across, moving into the artist and trying to find a formula where I can get them to understand what language, what background I'm coming from, so they have a bit of an understanding, and then they can input, you know, their own backgrounds into it. So it doesn't feel like, oh, it's Joseph coming to teach you some popping, some stuff. Actually, you do have that. You just have to recognize it, how popping comes up in your everyday life, and trying to put those memories into your body and use that as a stimulus. So yeah, it really has helped me, I think, for my own work, just know how to articulate stuff a bit more clearer.
Popping being one of the sort of core hip-hop styles, for anyone who doesn't know. Because you have your own company outside Royal Ballet, so obviously those dancers you work with more long-term, or have done, and so I suppose you build longer relationships, or you have more time in the studio?
More time in the studio, and they're more familiar. They grew up in a hip-hop culture, but they've also trained in contemporary dance, so there's an understanding where I'm not training them to understand what hip-hop is. I'm just trying to get my ideas and my imagery out to them, and then they help translate that. So it's a bit, of a different process. Yeah.
But it's been rewarding on both sides, having the residency here.
Yeah, it has. Like, if I say it, you're freelance financially, it's great.
Yeah,
you know?
That's important.
It's important because it gives you freedom to say no to other stuff. So then you're allowed to just think and be still and make you feel a better decision. So that's one thing it's helped. And I think it's also just looking at the way different bodies are treated and helps. So for me, it's coming from more like a health side, well-being side, seeing how it works here and other companies, and trying to implement that within, okay, I still come from a hip-hop background. I'm still very interested in investing in that. So it's taking stuff that I'm seeing and learning, and how do I implement that to, you know, bring a different dimension to what I do in my craft with my dancers, as well as here with the company.
It is an interesting point you make about being a freelance, because it's wonderful being in this huge institution, but the reality for most sort of new, upcoming, emerging choreographers is that they're living a precarious sort of freelance existence. So being able to be supported here to make work and have some of the resources of this space is definitely
a huge difference.
I'd like to hear a bit more about other people's process. I mean, you've all talked about music and how important that is. Is that always the thing that comes first? Anybody? Gemma?
For me, yes. I think I have in the past tried to start with a concept, and it didn't work out. I think the music for me is the driving force for creating. So, yes.
And so when you go into the studio, how much do you know about what you're going to do? Have you worked out steps before, or is it all about?
I know a lot about the music. I could sing the whole thing. I know the phrasing, the score. That really helps me to see structurally again how it's going to break up. And I know the limitations of dancers, especially in classical ballet. How long should a pas de deux be? How long can they sustain this kind of movement? So yeah, really just breaking up the score and seeing the arc of the piece. I don't want to have 5 group dances all in a row. You know, just that. That's all I know really. And then I meet the dancers and see who's going to be best suited to which part.
How does it work for you, Jessica?
Well, every entry point into the dance is different in terms of inspiration. Like I said, I'm inspired by architecture, visual artists. I might be asked to be a collaborator on a project, with a visual artist or a sculptor or something, or you get a commission that's about a theme, a specific theme. And so the entry point is different, and then you add, the other elements. Is it the lighting and the costuming and the music, and all of that becomes the piece you're going to make. And for me, the last thing I do is investigate movement. And I will study the company that I'm working with, the dancers. I will try my very best to know them before I get to know them. And then I will walk in maybe with some material planned that I've prepared. This is my new process. I used to never do that, but now I kind of work with some dancers before I get to the company that I'm working with. And then so I have material that is specific for that piece instead of recycling material that I already have worked with. And then once I know who my tools are, who fits in which part, and who is where I see the shading and the coloring, I drive down and we create together. Like, I work with the dancer in the room. That is the most important thing for me. So therefore, if I work with the Royal Ballet or I work with Alvin Ailey American Dance Theater, I see the dancer as the most important element in the end.
Yeah. Do you sometimes start with a sort of concept or an idea or a theme?
Oh, always.
Right.
Yes. And even if it's the music is what I find beautiful, I then research in. There's like an instinct of this music is really beautiful and it could be something. Let me dig deeper in my research and the background on why, what is this piece and why. And sometimes it's like, it's a wink. I can't. As a creative, you just have to follow the creative instinct to say that is something I'm going to do. Whether it's now or in 10 years, there's going to be a dance that I will make to that moment or music.
Josh, tell me about your process. You haven't made 100 plus dances yet, but one day you will have.
Yeah, the amount I've done usually has been from music, the start. I get inspired to dance from music, I guess. So that is the main inspiration, and then I get into the studio and I work with the dancers as well, one-on-one, see how their body and how their movement will suit the music as well. And
do you make movement on your own body first? That's often how some choreographers start.
Yes, sometimes, especially if it's group stuff, but when it's like more individual or duets or trios, I like to just come in with some sort of structural idea, but not the movement already. Yeah,
so does that mean sometimes you're in the studio and you don't know what's going to come next?
Sometimes, yeah. Yeah.
How do you deal with those moments? Because I assume as the choreographer, you need to sort of, you're in charge. People are looking to you to find out what's going to happen next, and maybe sometimes you don't know.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, that's difficult sometimes. Yeah. I try and take my time. So when I don't know, I try and just pull back or tell the dancers that I'm thinking, especially with that's not me, but especially with my colleagues and friends, I feel a little bit more comfortable, but there's moments where you feel a little bit insecure and you have to keep going. And I guess when that happens, you can always just go back and clean something up, and hopefully once you kind of know the structure a bit better, then something new comes up after that as well. So try and stay calm, basically.
Yeah, that's always a good idea.
Yeah.
Joseph, do you start with music as well, or do you often come from more of a thematic place?
Yeah, I think it's more movement. Music is, there's something that comes in after, usually like maybe the week before the show, I introduce the music to the dancers.
Oh, right.
Yeah, I'm really late with music. I think it's an experience I had in college where it was to do with licensing. And on the day of the show, apparently the school wasn't allowed to use the license, and we had to dance with totally like new music. And ever since that, then I just stuck in my head, actually, whatever I make, hopefully has to look physically strong, emotive, and no matter what I put on, it adds a layer to it. So for me, it's always been about, the language and the movement and the people in the studio, and hopefully the music just adds a bit more atmosphere and a direction for people to follow.
I mean, it's often the case in contemporary dance that creations are made without the music that will be
Yeah.
the final music, and it's more about testing out different feels
Yeah.
in the studio. But that's quite different to how ballet normally works. Not always, but
Yeah.
often. I wanted to ask you all about the importance of doing things that are new. We're all talking about new choreography, new ideas, but why is it important? Are you thinking about that when you're creating work, doing something that's new?
Yes. Sorry.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think it's really important because, as a dancer, you're always doing the classics, or you're putting on a ballet that somebody else has danced hundreds of times. So yes, you're Odette O'Deal, but you've got so many examples of how it should be danced, even though you're your own person. And with new creations, you're giving that dancer their own freedom to be who they are, not to be Kelsey Kirkland in Theme of Variations. And can you do this bit like her and that bit like this? And so it's really, I always say like 50% of it is me and 50% is the dancer, because at the end of the day, they're the ones who are wearing it. They're wearing the steps, and they're giving me themselves. So, I think new works is important to show them off where they are today.
There's so much more I want to ask you about this, but we actually have to wind up this section.
Sorry.
We were going to speak to Rob Binet next, but actually, Joseph, we're going to carry on with you next, so you can stay on stage with me.
Oh, right, okay.
But thank you so much for this conversation. I can't wait to see the results of all of this choreographic innovation. Thank you. Thanks.
Oh, like if I saw Joseph outside, really not. Oh, no worry.
So, Joseph, you've already met the choreographic residency for 2023-24, and he's going to show us a little bit, talk to us a bit, and tell us a bit about his process. And we have, I think we have first soloist Joseph Sissons, who's going to come on. Oh no, sorry. you've got Misha Bradbury and Rihanna Sembenoy, who are going to come and dance with you. So thank you.
Yeah.
Let's welcome the dancers.
Yeah. Let me just set up the laptop and then we can start. Oopsie. No worries.
Joseph's just getting himself ready. Are you warmed up? It's hard for them to come in just suddenly and then perform for 5 or 10 minutes at the end of the day. You've probably had a long day. Yeah, as always.
Yeah. Can I start? Yeah.
Go for it.
It's a bit weird, this new headphones. So let's pick up where we left off today, actually. Misha, can I start with you, please, quickly, before I work? Can we go from, from the jump from the start? Yeah. See, and you walk in, and 1, boom, boom. So you know when you do the jump, can you try to really, actually stop it before, so you go boom, stop, and then you move, boom, and go straight, that's right. So boom, hit, move, boom, a bit quicker. So as soon as you go, boom, boom, you want to move straight away. Down, boom, hit, that's fine, And that, bigger body roll. If you can, bam, that it throws you to the point that it wants to throw you off, and that's why you catch yourself. And that's what Mariana catches you. Let's try and do that. Boom, hit, bam, body. Nice. Cool. Let's just go to the next part, the one where you do the slide out. You walk in, slide, bam. So you know when you do the slide, as soon as you slide, can you just have a quick, we haven't done it in a long time, like a dime stop, like a quick stop, and then you go. So on the slide, a big, try. You go, whoa, bam, that's nice, So what's after that? You go, boom, bam, Even more, I think, try and think about what we were talking about, your fingers. Try not to keep it like that. Try and think like jazz hands, and you want to try and curve it. Whoa. So when you, even to lead up to that. How you get into that, yeah. So ta, boom, yeah, hit, and then you go, wow. Then you try and go, yeah, that's the one. So boom, hit, one, bam. Think about that as a full stop. Boom. And then you've got that softness before you need to go bam and bam. Yeah. So bam, so you go boom, boom, and hit. Nice. Yeah, that's better. Cool. We'll do that. Mariana, come please. Let me, because we'll put it together. So what's your first one? Bam. Boom. Yeah, that's nice. Can you just make it a bit more rounded, a bit more gooey? That, yeah, you get your back, bam, boom. Make the shape before you do the hit. So go, boom, bam, hit. Yeah, that's the one. And then you go, bam, nice. Boom, back. Yeah, keep going, out. Get a bit more, it's like what you do in your solo. I think you just have to try and attack it a bit more, but then, whoa, yes, that's the one. Back, hit, round, and boom. Cool, and stop there, nice. Can we try and put that small section together and see how that looks? From, who goes in, who's the cue? You kind of together, right? Let's try it by the music. And go. So you walk. Boom. Nice. Hit. Round. Boom. That's it. Boom. Boom. Bam. Boom. Nice. Let's keep going. And more gooey, yeah, nice. This is a gooey bit. Yeah. Boom, hit. That's it, nice, cool, relax. That's nice. Yeah. Somehow your pops are really strong. Yeah, they're really strong today. I was like, oh, okay. Should we try the music? Let's try the music, how it feels. Yeah. Let me find the right section. Yeah, 5, 6, and oh no, sorry guys. My bad. And 9. Boom. Bam. And hit. Boom. Pick up the pace a little bit. Nice. Boom. Down. Nice. And well done, guys. Well done. That's really nice. Well done. Now, we won't do any more, but we'll do it one more time. Just try and pick up, I think what it is about the tempo. Trying to get that tempo back, that urgency, so you don't want to speed up, but you want to go from like one movement to the other, go, boom, to the other. Just a bit more urgency, yeah? Let's try one more time, and that's it, yeah? Thank you. Do that. Oh, far walk. Five, six, 7, go, and boom, hit, bam, time, quick, and react. boom. Faster, boom. Nice, a bit quicker, boom. Nice, boom. Nice. Well done. Thank you, guys. Well done. Thank you. Yeah. Yeah. Thank you.
And thanks to Misha
Yeah.
and Mariana.
Thank you.
That's brilliant.
Oopsie.
Now, the Festival of New Choreography offers a great opportunity to widen the voices on show at the Royal Opera House and to experiment with the language of dance, but also to rethink the theatrical experience and think about the needs of audiences, things like accessibility needs. I'm going to be joined now by Robert Binet, whose new work, Dark with Excessive Bright, will be performed in the Limbury Theatre. And he's here alongside artist and Assistant Professor of Disability Studies, Devon Healy, who's been advising Rob and the team on how to create a production with accessibility needs at the centre. And joining them to demonstrate the process is Joseph Sissons, first soloist of the Royal Ballet. So come out. Hi. Thank you all for joining us. I know you're in the middle of a rehearsal, your first full rehearsal in the Limbury.
Yes, but we have a 25-minute break, so we're happy to be up here.
Great. Well, thanks for making it up. So it was a priority in this production for you to create a piece that was fully accessible to as wide an audience as possible. Tell me why that's important.
Yeah, I mean, well, in a basic reason, because I think everyone should get to enjoy what I get to enjoy, and I love what we do. I think a big part of Dark with Excessive Bright and the immersive nature of it is the audience has the freedom to move through the space and make choices about how they take in the work, whether they sit or stand really close and get a really eye-to-eye view with a dancer, or stand back and take in the whole space.
Because, can I just, you're taking the seats out of the theatre.
Yes, no seats in the Limbury. So we've got 3 performance spaces that are clearly outlined with a nice pathway that the audience is free to weave through. And it's not a prescriptive experience. People are just sort of sent free into the space to enjoy it as they wish. And I think an important layer of that is everyone actually being able to enjoy it to its fullest in the way that suits them.
Mm-hmm. Now, Devon, you're a performer and an educator, and you're blind yourself.
Yes.
And you've advised on a number of productions. Tell me what it's been like working here at the Royal Opera House.
Oh my goodness, it's been an absolute thrill and a sincere pleasure to be working with Anya, producer, and of course Rob and his beautiful choreography. Being able to get to know blindness in a different way, in a full-bodied way, has been a delight and has really informed my work as a writer and performer, and also I think what Rob and I are working on in terms of immersive descriptive audio, so kind of flipping that flow of how we conceive accessibility.
Can you sort of briefly sum up what you're doing in the piece, how you're making it accessible?
Absolutely, yeah. So nearly all questions of accessibility typically flow in one way, and that's if there's a disabled audience member, or in this sense of Dark with Excessive Bright, if we're imagining blindness, we think, okay, we need to fill blind audience members in on what is happening, the beautiful sights of the ballet. And that's wonderful, but it does tend to ignore the insights, the perceptions, the feel that blindness has, the movement of blindness that already exists within dance. And so both Rob and I are developing immersive descriptive audio, which kind of flips that flow and says, how can we make the perceptions of blindness accessible to not only blind people, but to sighted audience members as well, which I think opens up a new layer to experiencing dance and to feeling the artistic work of the choreographer and, of course, the very talented performers.
Joseph, very talented performer. What have you learnt being part of this process?
I've learnt a massive amount. I mean, we started with Rob, I think possibly November, October. And it's been a really nice process because we've come back into the studio every so often, and Rob's given us a little bit more information about the piece each time, and we've kind of grown with it. I've really enjoyed it because as a dancer, it's quite interesting to be on stage, or even in the studio, we haven't done it on stage. yet, but having to think right in the moment, like the way Rob has structured the piece is, for example, for me as a performer, there are like 3 separate stages that I could start my solo from. And then that means as a dancer, I love working with the music, and I also love working instinctually. And it puts me in a different place in the music each time. And then you end up finding different parts of the solo that you want to express. And then you have, I don't know, different thoughts. And I think we recently just received Devon's writing like the other day, and we were reading through it, and the writing is gorgeous. I mean, the audio description is so expressive, and it's made me think of my solo in a different way. And I think that's the amazing thing about accessibility, is that I would have never gone there in my head if we hadn't have been collaborating with Devon, which I do think is brilliant.
And just briefly, what are the kind of challenges you come up against when you're trying to make a work, Devon, when you're trying to make a work that's fully accessible?
Oh, I think the speed of sight, and the detail of sight. And I think Rob and I, for a little bit of time, we thought, okay, how can we capture all of this? And then we realized, wait a minute, we're trying to make blindness fit into sight. And we thought, well, that will never work. And it shouldn't work. And we took a bit of a breath, and we realized that blindness was teaching us. Blindness was teaching us not only about what it means to move, but also what it means to tell a story and to think creatively. So I think to kind of answer your question in a little taste, because I don't want to give too much away, the speed, and definitely really feeling blindness as a teacher. I know through working with Rob and Joe, I'm learning so much more about my blindness that I never would have. And I'm also learning a bit about sight as well.
And I think the most powerful thing for me in working with you, Devon, is realizing just how little about our dancing is all about how it looks, and that there's so much power to what we do that has nothing to do with how it looks. And I think there's so much in ballet training where as a kid you get so focused on how your body looks and the shapes you make, and of course those things are important to establish a language in the body, but that ultimately we should be trying to escape and transcend that at all times. And I think you just round out the picture of what we're exploring in the most beautiful way, because the conversations we've had have all been about what we're trying to share with an audience and what's most important about it, and that is so rarely how it looks.
And can I just ask briefly, Rob, so how has that changed the way you choreograph?
I think it makes me, you can start feeling like you're creating from the front of your body, and I almost feel like I'm creating from behind my body, like starting from the back of the brain and the sensations you're trying to create sort of at the top of the spine, and not just where the feet should be and where the hands should be, and filling in from there. And it also, because a lot of the writing is developed through conversations Devon and I have, even in something really abstract like this ballet, I have to have a really clear intention of what I'm trying to convey. It's because I have to tell her, and she has to run with it. And it's really made me sharpen my ideas in a way I'm very grateful for.
Wonderful. Well, we're going to get a little taster of what they've been doing now. So
Yes.
I'm going to let you take it away.
Thank you. So Joe, I was thinking,
let me take this.
If we try just the first 2 minutes of your solo without Devon's text, then we can have a little chat and then add it in. Cool. I think go from the original beginning. Thanks. Okay, we're ready for music, please. Beautiful, thank you. That was excellent. Just have two things. At the beginning, after you do the two tendus brushing back, when you turn into that attitude, try to go one arm and then the other so you don't cover your head on the way in. Da-ti, right, left. Yes. Yeah. And then when you turn for the stop, try to release your head so there's a little momentum to finish you there. Great. Okay. You okay to go again? You need a breath? So we're going to do it again with Devin's text now so we can feel the difference. Thank you.
9 moons, cradled as one, pulled violence of closed fist, knees wrap into sweeping caress, a gentle push onto pointed horizon, muscles contract, feet unburdened by the weight of what's this? Joy yet to be remembered, an internal haven withdraw, feet, cross, anchor, sweep, point, cross, anchor, sweep, point, brace. The presence of history's hands elevate, twist, fall, jolt, hands crest, elevate, dip, head, eyes focus, stop. Caged heart, pointed soul, yearning palm funneled into flight. Heel carries rotations that pop, gather and twist in the wind. Shoulder blades rise. Fists and feet cycle forward. Cascade into knees that lift, ground, push, a torso that stretches through space and time. Vibrations of what has, what is, and what will. Fuse, a body awaken, step, turn, leap, step, turn, leap, step, turn, leap. Reach, kick, spin, toes that flutter with grounded traction. Oily eyes beckon. Come with. Gravity explored, unburdened by the weight of remembering.
Beautiful. Thank you. Thank you, Joe. And thank you, Devin.
Wow. Well, thank you so much. It's been brilliant tonight to hear from everyone and to get a glimpse of the processes behind some of the performances. The Festival of New Choreography is here at the Royal Opera House from tonight until the 25th of February, and all the details of the events are on the Royal Opera House website. So all that remains is for me to say thank you to all the guests tonight, and thank you to the studio audience here in the Claw Studio, and everyone watching online all around the world. I hope you've enjoyed the evening. Thank you. Good night.